Man, it's so good. The old Steve Young footage, the old Chris Berman, and the ESPN Blazer. Nobody made it look better. We should bring those back. All right, that's another topic for another day. Rex,
need a bunch of extras on
we've talked a lot about Brock Purdy on this show, and it's actually surprised me that you have not been sold on this guy yet. I'm not saying you think it's all bad, but you've been skeptical about some of his abilities today. On this stage, under these lights, against the Dallas Cowboys, you think some of that inexperience shows up?
Well, Sam, I mean, I think it showed up a little last week to start the game. I think he felt a little pressure, and pressure, busts pipes, doesn't it?
Sure does.
I think it does. Or burst pipes, or whatever that word is. I don't know.
But we had to hide with that in the break.
And it's not a good thing.
You got it.
But to start the game, I thought he never looked good. He was throwing balls into team meetings, all that type of stuff. Did not look accurate. So the only question I had is what's going to happen when somebody gets them in a drop back game? How do you do that? Well, you got to win on first down on defense. All right. Currently, I just want people to understand what I'm talking about. Currently, this team, since Purdy took over as starting quarterback, averages 6.1 yards a play on first down.
Great.
So you're way ahead of the stick.
Yes.
Anybody can play that way, play action game. Everything's open to you. There's no pressure there. There's no drop back game. Okay, the thing I love about him, two things I love about Purdy the most: his poise and his mobility. Okay, the problem with that mobility today is that defensive line you're going up against. All right, with Lawrence and with Micah Parsons, those type of guys, they are so athletic. So to me, the key to this game is going to be first down. Here's another stat for you. In their 11-game win streak, the 49ers have outrushed their opponent by 908 yards, Brew. So they're getting it done, stopping the run on defense and running the ball on offense. What happens if they don't do it today?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, Rex, that you talked about that. You talked about him getting more comfortable, but it's almost like you can get too comfortable, right? I'm a huge fan of Brock Purdy. I think he's done an awesome job. Hats off to that coaching staff for having your third-string quarterback playing like one of the best starting quarterbacks in football. But last week, his average time to throw, so like how long he's holding onto the ball, how much he's trusting his mobility, was 3.63 seconds. Now that's impressive. Like I'm applauding it, but can you do that against Dallas? Like, can you do that against that pass rush?
No.
And so, like, I'm saying keep doing it, right? Keep using your legs, keep improvising. I'm still a fan of it. However, we can't get behind the sticks. We can't have 2nd and 10 or more. We don't want to take sacks, and most of all, you need to protect that football because both these defenses are 1 and 2 in takeaways. You have to protect the ball.
I look at Brock, and it's like I see a kid that why should he feel any pressure? I mean, I got all these guys around me. I got a defense on the other side. I mean, I'm just going to play. I'm going to play free. And if they stop the run, I'm just going to run around, try to extend plays. He looks like the moment's not too big for him. I think all the pressure's on Dak though. Dak's the one that really has to come through today because what he did last week, that's the Dak I like to see. Okay, it's balance, run, pass. You take away the two kneel downs, then it was 33 pass, 33 run. Dak used his legs. Dak found his tight ends. Yeah. This type of Dak I love to see. That's the one. But that was against Tampa Bay.
Yep.
And at some times there was no resistance whatsoever. He was in a game where he was ahead probably most of the game, if not all of it. So this is where Dak can really just shut me up. He's like, hey, Brewski, you don't know what you're talking about. Just shut your mouth. Here we go. Because this is the one I want to see right here. Dak against, your Cowboys, your Niners. Everything's on the line right here. I'll be watching Dak Prescott today.
Let me go back to Purdy and just talk about the offense. Matt, since he took over in Week 14, the expectations for a young quarterback would be to simplify the game plan. Have you seen Kyle Shanahan do that for his young quarterback?
No.
So that means he's opened up the offense. So what I'm looking at today, you talk about Parsons being able to be on the left side or the right side. The best left tackle in football is who, Rex?
Ooh, Trent Williams.
And the San Francisco 49ers have him. You got the right tackle, Mr. McGlinchey. So what am I saying? Why don't y'all fire off on Parsons? So if he does drop back or show that play action, they're going to be second-guessing themselves on the defensive side. So, like I said yesterday, I like what I see coming out of Kyle Shanahan with the addition to CMC, because CMC is the key player to calm Purdy down.
You want to know about the sort of legacy of these games also with the Cowboys and the Niners? You know that highlight package we just showed with all those Hall of Fame players? I mean, we remember, though, they're so impactful on our brains. You can become a household name on the defensive side of the ball also. Okay, if you make plays in this game, the San Francisco defense, Bosa's on that side and Parsons on Dallas's side. It's like, there you are right there, leaders of defensive play of the year. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Bosa because he's had an unbelievable year. And we talk all the time about Dak. And, like, I mean, I've been pro Dak this entire time. You guys know. Dak was outstanding last week. The knock or the danger on Dak. And, like, people don't even, like, I got this stat, and I'm like, this can't even be true. Can this be true? I'm just going to read it so I say it right. Dak Prescott had no turnovers last week, okay? Great. We all talk about that. He hasn't gone 2 straight games with no turnovers since 2019. Okay, so you got to stack them. 2019. So, like, that's basically what I'm saying is
that's crazy.
You have to protect that football with this San Francisco 49ers defense. They're too good.
It's been their problem all year long. Inconsistency. Flashes of greatness where we've seen this Dallas team be so good where you're thinking, who can't they beat? And then games where you just can't figure out. You said it before that they kind of play up to the level of competition. I think Dallas fans are hoping to see that today. Here's what I know that fans in Dallas were not expecting. They were not expecting in a playoff game for their biggest concern to be the kicking game. Especially after what we saw from Brett Maher earlier this year. He was so good. Let's bring in our Ed Werder here for more on what's going on with the kicking situation for the Dallas Cowboys, Ed.
Yeah, Sam, talking kickers, not quarterbacks. That's unusual. And, you know, I blame Dak Prescott for the Cowboys' kicking crisis. If the Cowboys hadn't scored so many touchdowns last Monday, Brett Maher wouldn't have missed so many kicks. The 49ers, the stingiest scoring defense in the NFL this season. So in a game where every point is hard to come by, Maher's performance could be decisive. In a close game today, the Cowboys did not elevate kicker Tristan Vizcaino from the practice squad. So Maher, the only kicker available against the 49ers. And where Maher is psychologically after missing an NFL record 4 extra point attempts 6 nights ago in Tampa will remain unknown until he takes the field for his next extra point or field goal attempt. Mike McCarthy said the fact that Maher has made just one of his last 6 PAT attempts will not influence his strategy, although I expect the coaching staff has prepared twice as many 2-point plays for today as they normally carry into a game. And Sam, running back Ezekiel Elliott said players remain confident in Maher, telling me, quote, "We've got faith in him. We're not going to turn our back on him. Last week we didn't really need him. This week we probably will." Then Elliott laughed and said, "So get that bleep together." And, you know, Bobby Gould, the 49ers kicker, he's never in his career missed a playoff kick of any kind.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was all mental. It was kind of brutal to watch. Like a car crash, you kind of kept looking. It was tough to see last week because this guy's been so good. I mean, he's made over 90% of his field goals this season. He missed more extra points Monday night than he did the entire regular season. He got some version of the yips. It was clear. It was all in his head. But, Rex, I'm just curious from your perspective as a coach, if he goes out there and he misses that first extra point, are you done with him for the rest of the day?
I mean, what Ed Werder talked about, you're going for 2. It's as simple as that. The guy's, you know, lost his confidence. You got to. And here's the funny thing. If you back it up and he's got to kick a 50-yard field goal, he'll be just fine. Like, sometimes that happens. I had a guy in Buffalo, man, I can't tell you how many times he missed a dang extra point.
What was his name?
Don't do it, Rex.
I'm not going to say his name because it's brutal. The guy hated me.
I
hated
actually
him.
think that some coaching and some coaches' staffs know how to handle a kicker, okay? And
Yeah, I
some
had
don't. Some guys are
idea.
just like big bullies, like, hey, you're the kicker. Like, there's that.
That's what I would have done.
It might be you.
It was me.
But I'm just saying, like, this team right here, I'm looking at, like, they got Rob Davis as their assistant head coach. Long-time long snapper for the Green Bay Packers. He was Ryan Longwell's snapper. Like, he's like, you know, they say quarterback whisperers. Like Rob Davis, that veteran presence. You know, you got Matt Overton, the snapper there, who's been around a bunch of great kickers. You got John Fossils, the special teams coach.
Point there in practice, like usually for my time, it was the end of practices where you did the extra points and field goal block teams, and how do you help a kicker out? This is what I would have done. When he's kicking, and if he makes his first extra point, everybody just stops and starts applauding. You know, you got to break the ice.
You got to love him up.
You got to love him up during the week and just hope that he makes.
But
that
it's also a
point.
thing in the NFL. Like Sam, you mentioned, they signed a kicker on their practice squad. Okay, when I was in Seattle, we had a kicker that was struggling. every Tuesday when he was working out in the weight room, which looked out into the practice field, what did they do when he was struggling? They brought in like 5 or 6 kickers and worked him out. And he was well aware of it. So, like, you butter him up, you love him up, but, like, this is also a cutthroat thing. Like, you better make your kicks.
You're right. I was about to say, do you know how many guys are just sitting at home because of a kick? You know, so it's crazy. I remember my rookie year over a kick against Atlanta. So what am I trying to say? It's 53 men on that roster. 53 men on that roster. Everybody has to step up. Punter, kicker, long snapper, everybody.
And that
it's a big
includes
game, man.
snapper, holder, just the same.
Yeah.
In defense of kickers, can I just say, I did not like the shot of Dak Prescott on the sideline yelling, "Let's go for bleeping 2." Can you imagine if Brett did that every time Dak threw a pick?
Yeah.
Let's run the ball. Let's run the.
He apologized
give him
later.
he was great most of the year. We'll see if he can get it together.
Make them kicks.
Today. It's easy,
got a
right?
job to do,
Extra
dude.
points,
You got one
field
job.
goals
Okay,
are
get the
easy. I
ball.
think we should flash back to when Matt Hasselbeck tried to make a kick here. What,
see?
28
This is
yards?
why I'm defending these
Oh,
guys.
my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, don't worry. It gets better. It gets better.
Does it?
Don't worry. Yeah,
It's got
it gets a
to.
lot better.
I don't think it does, unless Randy Moss shows up.
Jerry
There you
Jones.
go.
Jerry
Down
Jones.
kick.
I am a